So Shamima Begum has lost a challenge again over the decision to deprive her of her British citizenship. Back in 2019, Sajid Javid, the Home Secretary, deprived her of her British citizenship because they received national security advice which meant she was a threat to the UK. This would imply that they were given access to information that would imply that she still has huge leaning and sympathy toward the ISIS cause. But of course, we are not privy to that information. This has now set a precedent where the Home Secretary can revoke citizenships and infringe on the rights of its citizens. She is the UK's responsibility. Where is she a citizen of now? Why should Syria take her? Or any other country for that matter? Now aside from that, I still don't see why people don't see her as a victim in all this. She was only 15 at the time that she was groomed, manipulated, coerced to go to Syria. 2 unidentified adult women helped her and her friends to go to Turkey and then cross the border into Syria. I'm telling you right now, these girls did not come up with that strategy. There is a network of these recruiters that prey on vulnerable young children. She was fed the propaganda of the Islamic State. We all saw the propaganda videos from both sides, the Syrian side as well as the ISIS or Islamic State side. We saw the good bits and we saw the bad bits. But here's the thing. But the bad bits were always explained away as what we would refer to today as fake news. What do I mean by that? So when you had the Islamic State, it was formed because the Syrian regime, the Syrian government was trampling on the rights of the Muslims in the country. Now they were fighting back. And at that time, one person's freedom fighter is another person's terrorist. To make sense of this, let's use the current example of the war in Ukraine. For most people, Ukraine are seen as the victim. But for a fringe group, Russia is seen as the victim, not the aggressor. And these are the allies of Russia. Say China. China has not been harsh in its condemnation of Russia. They've just seen it as Russia has a right to defend itself. And now we have, on the other side, you've got America, you've got the UK that are fighting for the cause of Ukraine. They're supporting them with ammunitions. They're politically giving support. They're putting sanctions on Russia, all because there's a narrative. We're always being fed that Ukraine is the victim, and I'm sure they are. But we're only being fed one side of the story. And on the other side, you have Russia. Russian state news is always on the offensive, showing that they are the ones that are doing the right thing here. Ukraine is the one that is trying to take their land, and so on and so forth. Now coming back to Shamima Begum and her being manipulated. Adults get conned or manipulated on a daily basis. Business deals where most of us will say, look, that sounds too good to be true. And yet they still go ahead with it. There's thousands that enroll on Ponzi schemes, pyramid schemes. Why? Because they're desperate. Because they've been fed lies. And each time someone comes to advise them, look, that's a really bad business choice, then the person that's recruiting them is telling them, look, they're only saying that because they don't want you to succeed. They don't want you to make money. Don't listen to them. Put your money in here and I assure you in 2 years' time, you'll be very well off and they'll be coming to you for help. This is how it works. Reverse psychology, playing with the mind, manipulation. You also have those men and women that are being catfished online daily. And you've also got those guys that go for them, UK, America, all these European countries to go and fight for either Ukraine or Russia. They're choosing their sides. Now, who's right in this example? There's clearly some form of propaganda agent working here. There was a girl in America, in New York, where she conned a whole group of people, rich people, into thinking that she was daughter of a billionaire. And she made millions out of it. And all these rich people, smart rich people, could not identify that she was manipulating them, that she was conning them, that she was deceiving them. Now, are you still going to sit there and tell me that a 15-year-old girl could not have been manipulated, could not have been fed lies, could not have been fed this fairy tale story of what they're telling you is wrong? They don't want you to come here. Now, would you believe the seemingly religious Muslim women or the bad Western politician who's always caught lying year after year? The 15-year-old gullible girl would believe the Muslim woman. All I'm trying to say is, let's take a step back and reflect that this could have been anyone's daughter. And in the grand scheme of things, there weren't droves of 14 to 15 or 16-year-old girls that were flocking to Syria. It just wasn't the case. A few girls were unfortunately caught in this trap. So please just relax on the whole. She knew what she was getting herself into. She deserves it. Look, she does not deserve it. She was young. You could call her a lot of words, but a 15-year-old young girl does not deserve that. She was trying to come away. When she went there, which is with a lot of people that went to Syria at that time. Under false pretenses, false hopes. They go there, they see that it's not what it was set out to be. They try and get out of it, but then what the Islamic State do is once you're in, they don't let you out. And if you do come out, they kill you for treason. So now you're found in a situation where it's a bit like domestic abuse or domestic violence, where when the man is very abusive towards the wife, that even though she hates the sight of him, she just doesn't have an out. It's just some form of manipulation of the head where physically, mentally, they're in such a bad place that they'd rather stay and be a part of the abuse than be able to leave. It's not as simple as we think.